Hi, I'm Bruce Buffer, and it's time for El Octágono.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos del Octágono.com? Rafa, el Alcalde con ustedes, and today we are joined by the voice of the Octagon, Mr. Bruce Buffer, who this Saturday night will be in front of 55,000 people. You are in the middle of the whole chimichanga, like they say.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Are you pumped?
Oh, I'm so pumped. I mean, it's going to be one, let's call it a huge tostada of rabid Canadian fans all over. I was in Japan once and I did Bumbaye for Antonio Inoki on New Year's Eve, and they had like 45,000 people there, but that's Japan. Japan gets excited, but that's not the kind of excitement you're going to hear from 55,000 people here who go out of their mind at the drop of a hat, because I think the Canadian fans per capita all over the world are the most rabid fan base per ratio of UFC fans that I've seen so far.
The whole week we've been talking about how 55,000 people, and actually even Dana kind of related 129 to the UFC 100 in terms of the size, the anticipation and everything. 2 title fights, 2 of the best pound for pound fighters, putting the belt on the line, St. Pierre and Aldo, the battle of the legends, and then the rest of the fight that's going to be basically shown everywhere. It's Spike TV, Facebook.
All over the place.
How big is that?
It's just big because, right now, I think we're on like 500 million TV sets around the world, but now you've got Facebook, coming in, which even brands it out even more. And the fact of the matter is that when I was doing the cards last night, of course, the main event, the co-main event, Randy and Lyoto. Lyoto, as they say, to become a legend, you have to beat a legend. So he's so respectful of Randy and so honored to be able to fight him. And then, with Ben Henderson starting off the pay-per-view in his fight, coming off his loss from that fantastic kick, so he's going to be coming out looking for blood. And then I'm looking at the Spike fights and undercards, and it's just, there's so many great fights. Now they mixed in the flyweights, the bantamweights, and other lightweights with us, and the featherweights. There's so much entertainment. I honestly wouldn't want to be Joe Silva, because I think he's got one of the hardest jobs right now, matchmaking UFC.
I think he'll be a hero at the end of Saturday night, though, because he always gets it right. And it's amazing, especially now with all the talent. But let's talk about you and you being the voice of the Octagon. And, how do you come up with do what you have to do?
Do what you gotta do.
And it's time. And I remember UFC 100, you did a 360 when you were doing Brock. Do you plan that? Do you actually sit from now until Saturday and plan what you're gonna do?
I don't.
No,
I don't.
It just comes out.
It just comes out because honestly, if I was to rehearse, and I'll give you an example, but with me, the way I perform, if I rehearsed, I don't think I'd do as good a job. I think I'd be too much concentrating on how I rehearsed instead of going in there feeling natural, letting the passion flow, and feeling the energy from the crowd, which is going to be amazing on Saturday night. And that's what gets me going. With the 360, that was months, like 6 to 8 months of fans, thousands of fans. I was being emailed, it was all over the internet, because Joe Rogan had asked me what I would do, and he said, what could you do to top the 180? I said, I could do 360. And his cameraman was there, and he said, well, how would you do it? And I had an overcoat on, and I just did a perfect 360, and showed him how I do it. And then he made it a video, and it went viral on the internet. So suddenly now the pressure. And when I was in the Octagon during UFC 100, right the night before, or that day, I was in my room, and I never rehearsed, but 360, I thought, if I'm going to do this, let me see, how it's going to be. And I tried it 3 times in my room, and I slipped twice. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to do this, right? And then when I came out of the corner with Frank Mir and I went into Brock, my left brain's telling my right brain, okay, thousands and thousands of people are waiting for this. If you don't do this, you're going to be the biatch on the internet tomorrow morning, right? So it was perfect timing. I did it. I got airborne. I came down. I stepped forward. I punched the card in his face and roared his last name, and the rest is history.
Now, let me ask you another thing, because, when we watch it, and you definitely get the crowd going, even at home, because I got the chance to watch you at home and live, but like Dan Hardy. It really gets pumped up about you introducing. He actually calls you out. Is there any other fighter that actually you see that sends you that energy?
Actually, I think I want to say it was Cole Miller, but things are happening with the fighters now, because what I've noticed is where the fans have expectations about, and I take this as a great honor, expectations about the excitement that I create for them. Now the fighters are getting into it, and they're actually talking to me before fights now, and like Cole Miller, if I'm not mistaken, he reached out and he fist pumped me. I've never been fist bumped by a fighter. I'm announcing he's getting to his fight, and yet he's got enough consciousness to fist bump me as I announce them. I don't know of any other announcer that's received a fist bump during an announcement in a fight. And it's an evolutionary process. It just goes to show how wonderful the UFC is, that we all are so passionate about what we do, that we create such grand entertainment for the fans, which is what we're supposed to do.
What about when you're about to read the results? Have some of them shocked you?
Yeah,
but you're the first one.
I know.
After the judges, you're the first guy that knows who won, what happened.
I know, but don't, I always say is don't kill the messenger, because sometimes I've gotten that card and I'm like, what?
I really have to say this?
I have to say, what? But it's not, it's my job.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to criticize. I'm not the one in charge, okay? I'm a media mercenary, I call it. I mean, I go out and do my job. I might go back in my chair and go, what? Yeah. But that's not for me to talk about.
Well, hopefully this one happens Saturday night. Mr. Bruce Buffer will be in charge of getting the night going, and obviously telling us whether he's still going to be still champion.
Is it new or still? Yeah. Exactly.
Buffer, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to invite all your fans and your listeners. Please join me at bufferzone.net for my It's Time radio show. It's basically a little UFC and a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Oh, get out of here. What is it?
Bufferzone.net.
Bufferzone.net.
I have a very popular podcast on the Show Dog Network there, and it's just go to bufferzone.net. You'll get everything you want. And also, if you're getting married or you have a birthday, I offer special personalized recordings that we can take orders for, and I email them, and it's become very popular. I just did 3 weddings this week.
Awesome.
Walking down the aisle of love forever. Mr. and Mrs.
So, Bruce Buffer, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Para estar más informado, visita www.enoctagono.com.